Right then, you horrible lot. This week on Burntwolf Airsoft, I'm going to give you some tips on cover and corners. Now, first and most important thing to remember with cover is you don't have to be kissing the thing for it to be effective. A mistake I often see made out on the fields is people try to get too close to the cover, when cover can be effective many meters behind it. Of course, there are limits, and the lower the cover, normally the closer to it you'll have to get, unless, of course, it's on top of a hill. I've found that it always pays to drop down a few meters before you reach your chosen piece of cover. In a highly contested environment, this can mean the difference between taking and losing ground. Also, I find it pays to remember to always stay a little bit back from your item of cover. Keeps your gun out the way and will keep you feeling a little bit vulnerable, which should hopefully mean you stay more alert and keep that head on a swivel, rather than going into tunnel vision mode and thinking the battlefield's very two-dimensional. Dropping down earlier is also great because you don't have to run so far. One for the fatties like myself out there. Now, moving on to corners. Like cover, remember to always stay back a bit. Keeps you mobile and alert. Few top tips when it comes to corners, defending and assaulting, is whichever way you plan on going, stick to the opposite side. Gives you a nice view of whoever may be lurking around the bend. Remember, with T-junctions, like the green cross code, to look both ways before crossing. This is made much easier with a friend checking the opposite side. But if you haven't got a friend, well, you're just going to have to check both ways yourself, aren't you? Now, when it comes to corners, there are two ways of assaulting them as far as I can see. The first is to slice the pie and steadily trim off edges until you're all the way around. Of course, though, the slow and cautious approach like this is exactly what most people expect, and they're likely to shoot you first if you don't spot them. The other, and my personal favourite way, is to charge round them like a lunatic, catching the opposite team off guard. This is often a good way to gain ground or get shot by a waiting mob of 20 people. Both ways have their pros and cons, working best, I found, alongside each other, with a lead nutter and a follow-up team, as most people will shoot at the nutter first and forget about what they were watching, revealing themselves to the follow-up crew, who should hopefully pick them off. But things aren't often as clean-cut as that in games, and a couple of grenades will never go amiss. And finally, the most important bit of advice I can give you when it comes to corners is to never give up your advantage. If you gain the advantage, aka your setup, sights aimed, and the opposite team goes behind cover, stay that way. Don't give up that advantage, you may not get it back. It will take the other player time to set up, aim and fire, whereas you've only got to aim and fire. Another little tip in this situation is to drop your gun down a little bit, as my personal favourite way to deal with people set up like this is to drop down as low as I can and fast peek, hoping that they're blocking the lower view of the corner with their own gun. Never thought your own gun could be a blind spot, did you? And that's some tips on cover and corners. Hopefully you found this video helpful and it helps you out on your next game. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more airsoft content. Anyway, back to what you were doing. That is.